Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today for the webinar entitled Sneak Peek, MineXchange 2020 SME Annual Conference and Expo. Tom Roch, 2020 SME Program Chair, is going to give us a great rundown on what to expect. And he is joined by Tara Davis, Director of Programs for SME. I'd now like to turn the program over to our presenter. Tom, would you share your screen with us?
Great. Can everyone hear me okay?
Sounds terrific. Please proceed.
Perfect. Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Jackie, for getting us kicked off. As was mentioned, the goal today is to give you guys a sneak peek of what's coming up at MineXchange 2020 Annual Conference for the SME. I'm Tom. I work at Black Mountain, currently based here in Texas, but chasing projects all over the place. So very excited about the show this year and everything that we have coming up, and always like to make the most of the show. So my goal today is to help you all see some of the things that the SME staff and I agree are some of the most exciting. Of course, we can't talk about everything. The show is huge. So we'll also talk, I'll mention just a couple of things about strategy for making the most of the show while you're with us in Phoenix. So overall, our agenda is conference overview, kind of what to expect. We'll mention the best of technical sessions just a little bit. Again, there's just so many, it's hard to hit on them all, but we'll highlight some that we're pretty excited about this year. Also talk through some must-attend special events. And finally, of course, a big thank you to our sponsors. So what to expect at MineXchange this year? We really see that the value of the SME's annual meeting comes down to three main pillars, and that is to learn, to explore, and to connect. There's going to be over 105 technical sessions. There's 6 short courses going on and 2 symposia. So in terms of access to technical information, our goal consistently year over year is to make sure that we have the most up-to-date and some of the most exciting and informative technical sessions available. And I think that the divisions and all the division leadership, they really do a great job to make sure that we are current and informative. Explore, there's 575 exhibitors this year. These are contractors, suppliers, production companies as well, everyone who's busy in our industry, and they're just putting on a little bit of a display in the exhibit hall, talking about what it is that they're up to. So it's a great opportunity to connect with some of the 6,000 industry professionals who will be in attendance. So you're in good company. Obviously, not just ourselves here on the webinar, but 6,000 industry professionals, students, and most importantly, quite a few leading experts in the field who attend these events every year. And we're always very excited. This year looks to be a really exciting year. It's a great timing in the market, and Phoenix is always a great place to visit. So we want to make sure that that within the SME, we're really providing solutions. This is supposed to be a event that is showing value of the SME and making sure that industry is driving value by being collaborative. So we've got 575 companies that are exhibiting, but that's over 77,000 square feet of exhibition space. Really, this should be one of the main hubs for you as you work through the show, to continue to go back to the Expo floor and engage with producers and vendors and contractors, and learn a lot about the technology that's offered. I mean, I consistently find that there's something new for me to explore and to learn about, and to take some documentation home and go back and look at new technologies or new operations that are coming online. There's just always so much going on. I can't hope to find it all on my own, except for the exhibit floor really makes that pretty easy. So part of making the conference easier is the annual app. Every year, the smartphone app for SME events is updated. So what you want to do is you want to go to the Play Store or the Apple Store and look for SME events, and you can download the app. If you have it from previous years, it will ask you to update it. You'll be able to see the SME logo. For me, it was the first one that popped up. And then from there, you can view a calendar, technical programs, speakers, exhibitors. I think this year, if you've used the app in the past, you'll be particularly impressed this year. We've really done a great job. I've got a screenshot of the app just there to the right. And I've already started going through and building my calendar, what we're calling my schedule. So making sure that I have all the different events that I want to, A, that I've registered for, but B, also what I want to make sure I don't miss for technical sessions. For anyone who's been to the show before, you know there's just so much going on. It's not possible to do everything yourself. You have to kind of divide and conquer if you're going with a team. But step one is plan on spending, for me, I'll spend at least a couple hours, but plan on at least spending a half an hour to look through the app, look through all the technical sessions, and start to build out that schedule and decide, hey, these are the things that I want to go to. I think you'll find that if you do that, then the whole show, the whole week, you'll have something to do pretty much every hour, and in fact, you'll end up having too many things that are double booked. So that is for me probably the number one piece of the puzzle that allows me to be effective during the show. So a little bit about Phoenix, sixth largest city in the U.S. Sits at an elevation of just over 1,100 feet. It's in the Sonoran Desert, so this time of year, compared to Denver at least, where we normally hold the show every other year, should be pretty excellent for weather. But that said, make sure you look ahead, and I know everybody's spread out across a handful of hotels that are fairly close to the convention center, but still take a look the week before when you're packing your bag and make sure you've got clothing to fit. But I think we'll be pretty well sorted with some nice Sonoran Desert weather. Phoenix has more sunny days than any other metropolitan city in the United States, so always happy to have the show in Phoenix. Now, if you're sticking around or coming in a little bit early, Phoenix, the greater Phoenix area has quite a bit to offer, or if you've got a significant other or spouse who's joining you. Over 200 golf courses, professional sports, quite a showing. And of course, every February 15th, Major League Baseball comes for the Cactus League spring training, which is always a big deal, and it's quite a tourist, quite a tourist event. So if you're coming in early, even for that, you'd be in a week early, I suppose, but wouldn't surprise me if some folks are going to make the trip. So overall, our goal at the SME, of course, is to inspire mining professionals worldwide. And so we do that by trying to offer technical information and value, by trying to show opportunity to our members that to use that information and to network. But more importantly, I think it's about inspiration, right? How do we connect these ideas? How do we connect information? How do we connect people and come together with leading the industry globally in a way that's going to produce the best possible results for our industry? So for SME membership, I think overall you'd find most SME members say that the annual conference is one of the most important parts of driving value from their SME membership. In addition, of course, we want to focus on all of the work that SME has going on. Of course, the SME is not just busy for the annual meeting, but the publications and technical information we put out, which is always expanding. Right now, where in the last couple of years, you've seen the SME handbook, the new mineral processing handbook as well that came out just in the last couple of years, the new mineral processing journal that's just come out. But during the event, during the annual conference, we have not only just the opportunity to stop at the bookstore and see some of the publications and talk to other professionals, but you really have the opportunity to work on your professional development through a handful of the events that are going on, such as the division luncheons, et cetera. So make sure you make the most of that. And another thing that I think everybody finds valuable, the networking, but I really try to schedule meetings at the SME. So if I've got, pretty much I won't have a free breakfast, lunch, or dinner during the whole show. You find that a lot of members come to these shows, and when we do, to have that opportunity to engage personally is pretty important. So make sure you let your colleagues know that you're going to be coming to the show and reach out to plan some meetings with them. Now, for our new members, especially folks who are maybe new in the industry, coming from another industry or earlier in their careers, But also there's quite a few members who are local members but have never come at the national level before, so or international. So we make sure that we have an orientation and reception. And if you're a member who's been involved in SME, but you maybe don't feel like you're quite as connected as you'd like to be, the new member orientation and reception, as well as some of the different events that's going on, and we can you can reach out to the SME staff about this. It's really a great time to find all this value that I'm talking about within the SME. If you're not sure that you're getting all the value that you can, the annual meetings is a great time to connect with staff, to connect with all the different programs that the SME is running, and make sure that you are taking full advantage. So the new member orientation and reception is on Monday evening from 5 to 6 at the Convention Center. Now, Monday morning, we'll start off the show with the keynote session. Very timely. The topic for this year's keynote is executives' role in tailing management and preserving our social license to operate. Obviously, quite a bit of news about this year, especially with events in Brazil. So we think that this is really an important thing to talk about, and we've put together a great panel of executives who are going to review kind of not just social license to operate and best practices, but talk about really where they see the future going. And we've got a symposium on this as well. So make sure, it's a big deal every year. We make sure that there's nothing else happening during that keynote session, and we really hope that everyone's able to attend and makes an effort to attend, because this is going to be one of the most important conversations happening at the show this year, and frankly is one of the most important conversations that's going on in the industry globally right now. For just after that, we have a new award that was started just a couple of years ago. It's the 2020 Robert E. Murray Innovation Award Lecture, and that will be given by Eric Hansen from Innovative Wireless Technologies, and he'll be talking about digital transformation and next generation networking solutions for mine rescue and mining operations. So like I said, a new award and a new addition to the keynote session. We're very excited, looking forward to hearing that presentation. Now, these are the two symposia that I mentioned. First is Mine Tailings, Perspectives for a Changing World, a handful of topics that will be covered during that symposia. This was initially not on the docket. We added this because of all the concerns about mine tailings and social license to operate. So not just after the keynote, but throughout the show, it's important. This is a pretty important conversation, so we want to make sure that we had an impressive lineup of professional technical folks who are going to take time to share information and share really best practices and perspectives on what's coming for tailings management. The other symposia is for managing gangue minerals. A handful of topics again on this as well. This is a bit more traditional and always a good place to kind of stop and take a look and make sure that our operations are using best practices, and that we're, as the SME, being not just representing one portion of the industry or another, or one company or another. It's important that we're sharing information across the industry to promote best practice and competitiveness, and again, back to social license to operate, make sure that we are doing the best we can for our non-industry community, so that they know that we are trying to be cost effective and be productive and operate well. So with that, that kind of bridges us into the rest of the technical program. As I mentioned before, there's 105 sessions, over 600 speakers. We have here just a brief list of some of those topics. These are really the major divisions. All the divisions and the division chairs do a fantastic job and spend really the whole year working on what topics they're going to cover. As you know, we could expand this significantly, more than 105 sessions, but we have to be, there's only so much time in these few days coming up here in February, and so we have to make the most of that. And so really, despite the fact that we might get quite a few more abstracts, we have to be pretty, the technical chairs, the program chairs have to be pretty careful about who they're picking, and what all information is being put out, so that way we have the best possible technical program in such a short time. So that's all very highly curated. I hope that you'll take some time to dig through the technical program. You can start to do that online and again on the app. And we're going to talk about a few of those that we're pretty excited about. So here's 10 technical programs to watch. Assessing capital in an ever-changing energy landscape. That's part of the Coal and Energy Division. That's Tim Alsh, actually. He's going to be talking a little bit about just kind of how things are changing in the coal industry. But I think that session is particularly valuable for not just for coal, but for anybody in the mining space. We know that there's fewer and fewer investors who are active in the space. Security and Exchange Commission sets the SEC rulings on mineral properties. There's been quite a few updates to that, and obviously that was a big deal here in the last couple of years that SME has really engaged to promote that update. Technical critical minerals, always an exciting topic. Project management and mining, some really great abstracts in that session. It's near and dear to my heart, so I was looking forward to sitting in those presentations. Digitization, automation, and control strategies, always a place to look at expanding frontier in technology for improved mining operations and cost effectiveness. And our second 5 for the 10 to watch, managing diversity, obviously very important, and especially as we see demographics in mining changing, something that's becoming more and more important as we're building global teams. Managing social license to operate for today and tomorrow. Again, this really ties into a lot of the conversation right now is on tailings, but that's not the only things that matter when it comes to social license to operate. We've seen just in the last year quite a bit of conversation around social license to operate and indigenous or native cultures that are close to our operations and are part of our communities. Innovation and technology, always a good topic. Upcoming legislation and ethics for mining, trying to stay ahead of what's coming next. And finally, best practices for permitting and regulatory negotiations. Of course, that's a big deal. We've seen in Arizona this year for one major story, but certainly in many places, not just in the US, but outside, that the ability to navigate permitting and regulatory measures are really important. And having that conversation is really key to getting our projects off the ground. So by the numbers, 105 sessions, that's 122 preprint manuscripts, 638 presentations coming from 39 countries. So a really great and broad presentation of what's going on out in the industry. And we like to bring that all together here at MineXchange and make the most of it. So that way you can put together a plan and make sure you hit the topics that are most impactful to you and your careers. In addition, of course, we always like to spend some time and support our students. That's the future of our industry. We've got quite a few student activities at MineXchange. Of course, they're not just open to students, they're open to everyone. So if something is particularly interesting, it's a good opportunity to engage with students, and you're more than welcome. The design competition, the student member engagement breakfast, student forum and reception, student mixer by Komatsu, and also the graduate student research poster contest. The graduate student research poster contest, I think, is something that is always too lightly attended. I mean, it's a great opportunity to walk through where the poster hall is and get to see just an incredible amount of the forward-thinking research and technology development that's going on right now. So make sure you stop by to visit that. Along with our students is our young professionals. So we have a pretty robust program that's been developed over the last, I think, 21 years now for young professionals, and that's through the Young Leaders Program. They're having their mentoring luncheon, always important, even if you're a senior member of our community, really need mentors for these young professionals. Monday night social, that's starting at 9 o'clock on Monday night. We're having a kind of a late evening social. A good opportunity to go and network with young professionals and for young professionals to go and meet each other and meet industry, see more veteran industry professionals who are coming to mingle on Monday nights. So that's always a great event, and that's actually been rebranded just this year. So we're pretty excited about that. A handful of committee meetings for the young leaders, and the young leaders actually hold their own sessions as well. Best practices, environmental management case studies. My first 5 years in industry, that is always a lot of fun. We get to hear about just kind of how folks have transitioned from graduate school or undergraduate into the industry, and kind of some of their lessons learned. So that one's always a bit gritty, and it's nice to hear some of the young war stories. I gave one of those presentations a handful of years ago myself. And then finally, things I wish I had known. So I think that, not only are those sessions good for young professionals, but they're also good for more veteran professionals to come and see what young professionals are looking for, what they like about their careers, what they don't. I've had quite a few folks come to me afterwards from some of these when I was more involved with the young leaders to talk about, hey, I think I really need to work better on how we're engaging young people in our in our company, not just interns, but new graduates and folks who are 5 years into their careers. What is it that's going to keep them really engaged and really involved? And I think we can perpetuate a lot of that and really progress a lot of that conversation through the young leader sessions. So now we've got a handful of must attend special events that I wanted to make sure you guys are aware of. And again, these are all in the apps and in the sessions. First is Move Mining. So Move Mining this year is on Sunday from 2 to 4. 5 teams will present concepts. So they've gone through the early selection. We're down to the last 5. And their goal is to change public perception of mining. And we've got a first place prize of $5,000, as well as a second and third place prize, I believe, this year. That event will also be streamed live on Facebook. So if you have some colleagues that aren't coming but are interested in innovation and changing the public perception of mining, Move Mining is a great event. So please make sure to share that. On Sunday night, the Foundation Gala's the Foundation's annual gala dinner, this year themed as Boots, Bowties, and Bling. There's a reception and silent auction, a dinner, followed by a brief presentation, just kind of honoring and giving some awards for folks who have done some really impressive work for the foundation. So we'll be honoring them, and entertainment and dancing afterwards. So I hope you'll be able to join us for that. That is a ticketed event, unlike Move Mining. The Foundation Gala is a ticketed event, so make sure you buy that ticket beforehand. The Women of SME breakfast. This is on Tuesday morning, and they're having a keynote speech, if you will, by Sherry Harley about creating the career and work environment you want. So we think that's a really great topic this year, and hope that you'll be able to attend. And I believe that is also ticketed. So make sure you sign up for that beforehand. Now, some new and notable things that are either different from last year or something exciting that's going on that's altogether new. One, Move Mining has moved to a new day, so make sure you guys are aware. That's on Sunday from 2 to 4. The mobile technical session for the mineral processing division. This is our second year. Last year was kind of a pilot run. We've learned a few lessons from that and are moving on to another technical session. So the mobile technical session will meet at an assigned place, and then actually we'll go through the exhibit hall, transition through the exhibit hall to see, walk through a flow sheet essentially. And this year the topic for the mineral processing division's physical separation, the topic is grinding. So they'll walk through a grinding flow sheet and visit with equipment manufacturers and talk a little bit more about engineering firms and construction, and talk a little bit more about that flow sheet. And then finally, Wednesday, there's lunch in the Expo at the exhibit hall, I'm pretty sure. And so you want to stick around. That's for the tailgate party. So that'll be right before the tailgate party. And that tailgate party is something new. We've never done this before. This is the foundation is hosting a truck raffle and tailgate party. So thanks very much to Empire Cat down in Arizona. They've donated a 2020 GMC Sierra 2500. Pretty fantastic truck. So the foundation is selling raffle tickets. There will be 5,000 tickets in total sold, and they're being sold for $30 per ticket, or 4 for $100. And at the tailgate party on Wednesday afternoon, we will be pulling the winning raffle ticket for the truck. And so that's the purpose of the tailgate party. So please do buy some tickets for the truck raffle. All of the, again, the truck was donated by Empire Cat. And so all the money raised in the ticket sales will go to the foundation's programs. And if you're unaware of the foundation, I'd love to tell you about the foundation as well. So thank you all for joining us, and special thanks to our overall conference sponsor, Freeport. Of course, they always are a great sponsor to the SME, and we love to be in Phoenix, so we're a little bit closer to them. Love to bring the show to Phoenix every few years. So thanks, Freeport. And thank you as well to these major sponsors. SME is a member community, right? And so we are not able to do all the wonderful things and all that wonderful information and programming that we put together without our sponsors and without our members. And thanks as well to these sponsors. It's a large community, but we can't do it without everyone being involved. And so thanks again to our sponsors and to all of you, our members. So any questions?
Thank you, Tom, for a fantastic presentation. There is so much to choose from. I'd like to open up the question and answer period to our attendees. Please use the chat panel to send us your questions. Tom, if you could go back to the slide that shows the app, please, near the beginning of the presentation. We have several questions. People are asking what, and Tara might be able to answer this. What is the username and password to
Sure.
log into the app?
I talked a little bit with Tara about this because I made sure I downloaded the app and played with it a little bit this morning. So the username is whatever username you decide, but write it down. So it's not a predefined username. It's you're going to pick that username. So it's like you have to register, right? So the username is whatever you want, and the password is all lowercase SME. And I assume Tara will speak up if I am wrong, but that should work. That worked for me this morning.
Again, I'd like to ask our audience to send their questions through the chat panel. Our next question is requirements to username. I'm not quite sure what the question is.
Yeah, I don't think there's any requirements for the username. You just want to pick something that's for you. So I used my email address for my username, just the first part of my email address before the @ symbol.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be 5 lower, 3
Nope.
special, those
not that I found. It can
no,
be
no
the
special
username.
characters.
That's right. And then the password is just SME.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'd like to remind our attendees that this session is being recorded. It will be posted on the SME YouTube site, probably within the week. And Tara is telling us that you can use any login you want.
Yeah, that's for the username there.
For the username, yes.
Yeah, so do make sure that you get that set up, and I really recommend the app. For me, is much more convenient than carrying around the technical booklet, the technical program booklet. I already have my phone with me. The app has been significantly improved this year, in my opinion, and there's a place for notes. They have the calendar that you can set up with all of the different with everything you need, picking out individual technical sessions, individual presentations within technical sessions, etc. And I find that when I do that, if I put it all in my personal calendar, it's a bit hard to navigate. I think the app is easier to navigate in terms of keeping me on track. You also have a list of exhibitors, which is very helpful because I don't typically have time to get to all the exhibitors that I want, but I can go through and highlight, oh, hey, this company's here. Where if I'm just walking around the floor, I won't necessarily see everybody's booth is different, right? So I won't necessarily see every name. So I usually go through and make a list of exhibitors that I know I need to visit while we're all in the same place, and then I can kind of cross those off my list. And the maps is valuable as well. I really enjoy being able to, if I'm looking for something specific, typically I'm running between sessions. So being able to pull up on the map and make sure that I'm going to the right place. As you know, these convention centers aren't always as easy to navigate as you might think. So the maps are pretty helpful.
Yes, it's a very dynamic program. Encourage everybody to download the app as soon as possible and begin your schedule and your calendar. Tom, it appears that there are no more questions, so thank you again so much for a terrific presentation. And I hope to see you all in Phoenix in a little more than 3 weeks.
Yep, looking forward to it, and I hope everybody will be able to join us to a lot of the events that I mentioned, as well as go through these. Those are just kind of our highlights. There's a lot more wonderful events. The division luncheons are always fantastic. Um, Make sure you buy your tickets for those. The gala is great. The Monday night reception is great. So I hope to see you all. And if I haven't met you before and you see me wandering around, please do say hello. Other than that, finally, I guess make sure you buy some tickets for the raffle, the SME truck raffle, and I'll be at the tailgate party as well. So thanks very much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you, everyone. This ends today's session. See you in Phoenix.
Bye-bye.